Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had a viewer ask a question that was in the Q&As yesterday that I'll flip in here for you guys. I didn't get to it in the Q&A because I ran out of time, but I thought it was kind of a question worthy of its own video. And he asked, hey, I don't care about fancy programs. I just want to be healthy and strong. Why can't I just come in, squat, bench, deadlift, and overhead press with progressive overload and do that? Do I really need any fancy programs? So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing. Work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And I would say, no, you don't need any fancy programs. What people need to understand, fancy programs, whether we're talking about block periodization, nonlinear periodization, which will actually, you can do nonlinear block periodization, concurrent training, undulating periodization, all this stuff, they're not necessary to make progress. They're not necessary to get big and strong. People got big and strong long before any of this stuff was discovered. All right, they got big and strong long before any of this stuff was discovered. All right, basic progressive overload got people there for pretty much forever. It's all of recorded history since exercise science has been recorded. We've known this since ancient Greece. The thing is, when we talk about fancy programming, people need to understand, when we start looking at some of these various periodization protocols and things like that, I want people to understand these things are not necessary to get big and strong. In fact, if you're even training decently, intelligently, with even the most basic, decent programs that doesn't even incorporate any of these methods, and you switch to these methods and you see a massive difference, something is very, very wrong. What I mean there is, if you were to go from just training with some idea focused on progressive overload, just increasing the weight when you can, increasing reps when you can, focusing on basic exercises, and you were to go to some sort of like linear block periodization, or you were to go to some sort of concurrent periodization, and you like gained twice the muscle over the next year than you had gained the year before doing the other stuff, something went wrong with the other stuff. You weren't trying at all. You shouldn't see much noticeable difference at all. All right, and that's the point that I want to make here. People come in and say, well, I tried this protocol and I made massive gains. Well, you were on something really horrific before. Because honestly, any general focus on hard work, progressive overload, and managing your maximum recoverable fatigue, where you use decent volumes and decent workloads, you shouldn't see more than about a 5 to 10% difference at best from going to that to one of these other training styles. And I want to make that point clear. The best case scenario, you should see 5 to 10% more gains per unit of time, like per month, per year, things like that. So you shouldn't see a big difference. And that's the thing that strikes me really weird when someone jumps over and says, hey, I tried this program using this periodization and I made the best gains of my life. When someone says that, what they were doing had to be horrifically bad, because any general basic program, they shouldn't have seen much noticeable difference. All right, this sort of programming is there to keep you from plateauing as long, to avoid plateaus. That's it. That's all they do. That's the entire purpose of all periodization programs, including concurrent periodization. It is there to help you mitigate plateaus. You don't make any faster gains other than through the plateau periods of time to where you're not plateauing. You should make the exact same amount of muscle gains on something that doesn't use periodization at all versus any of these methods. I mean the exact same amount of muscle and strength. There shouldn't be any difference. They only slow down plateaus, which might give you a 5 to 10% better amount of progress over the course of a year. All right, that's what you get for the complexity. And people need to understand that. That's why I tell people, if you're not going to compete in anything and you're just training for general health and fitness and you're just trying to get big and strong, you're just trying to get to a 500-pound deadlift, okay? That's your only goal. You want to bench 300 pounds, natty, and you don't mind eating enough to get there. You want to deadlift 500 pounds, natty. You shouldn't need any sort of periodization to get there at all. All right, you shouldn't need anything special. Basic, slow, linear progression should get you there. You don't need periodization to reach those goals. And I can't stress that enough. Now, with the guy saying, can I just focus on the basic lifts? Well, I would throw in some sort of extra pulling work for your back. And it's not to say that your lats won't get decent stimulation between the overhead press and particularly the deadlift. They'll get decent stimulation. Will it be adequate? Probably not enough for total muscle balance. Your biceps are going to lag a little bit. I would say that you need some sort of row or some sort of chin-up added in. But those 5 exercises, if you were to focus on that, that would be more than adequate for you to be healthy and be strong. All right, and remember, strong is relative. You're just trying to get to a 500-pound deadlift. Yeah, you could come in with minimal game plan and just focus on progression. And what do I mean on progression? You lift a weight for a number of reps until it gets easy. As long as you don't care that you plateau a little bit every now and then, as long as you don't care about those things, you don't need fancy training. Like if you don't care that every now and then you spend 4 or 5 weeks not getting stronger on certain lifts here and there, and you don't care, oh no, your deadlift hasn't gone up in 6 weeks. Oh no, your bench press has been stuck at 250 pounds for 6 reps for 6 weeks. If you don't care when things like that happen every now and then that's fine. You don't need any sort of planned progression. You don't need any sort of periodization or fancy programming if you don't care about those things. And a lot of people don't. But I would say to people, what do I mean by lift until something gets easy? It's kind of like the old school thing I said before. Pick weights you can do 5 reps with fairly easily. When it gets really easy to do sets of 5 with that weight, go to 6 reps. When it gets really easy to do sets of 6, go to 7. But the difference is, when I say that, I'm telling people not to go to failure. The only people who stall and say, I'm stuck, I can't get past this, that tells me that you're grinding reps and you're going to failure too much. That will stall you out. That will cause you to stall. Lift a given number of reps and weights until it gets easy. In other words, when benching 225 for sets of 5 starts to feel like, man, this is getting too easy, even if you've been doing it for several weeks straight, go to 6 reps. When 6 reps feels really, really easy, you're like, oh, that was nothing, go to 7 reps. And if you do that over time, you will get bigger and stronger year after year after year. And it's going to slow, of course. Every year expect to gain less than you gained the year before. That's normal. But yeah, someone could just come in and focus on those lifts, continue to gain muscle, continue to gain strength for many, many years. It'll be a slow progress, but they'll get there. Just add reps when you're able to. Don't grind anything out. Don't train to failure. You'll be perfectly fine as far as those goals go. And as far as just being healthy and strong, weightlifting without pushing yourself to the limits will increase your health dramatically. Like if you come in and weightlifting, you never do a grinder or never hit a set to failure for the rest of your life, you will still have fantastic health improvements from lifting. In fact, you can get reasonably strong as long as there's a general progression towards overload and increasing your workload. As long as you focus slowly on getting stronger, adding reps, adding sets as you can, adding weight as you can, you'll continue to get bigger and stronger. You will probably eventually reach your natty limit. What people need to understand, fancy programming, as he termed it, and the type of programming I oftentimes talk about, is there just to give you a little better progress. And when people run my program, or anyone else's programs, anyone's programs, and they see a big improvement, that's because what you were doing before was terribly bad. It's not that those programs are that good. There is no such thing as an amazing program. There are only good programs. There are only programs that ensure results. And anything that is inferior to those is just a terribly written program. It's either not focused on proper progression, excessive exercise selection, excessive volume, not paying attention to maximum recoverable volume, paying attention to maximum recoverable fatigue. Programs that ignore those things completely, that's where people make the terrible progress. And if anything, in my experience, when people follow a program that someone else has given them, usually the people who make the worst progress are because they were pushed too far. That's my experience over the years. No one ever failed to make progress by training below their threshold. They just get slower progress. The people who are stalling all the time, get stuck at something, it's because people are pushing them beyond their maximum recoverable fatigue. They're on a program that pushes them beyond that because it doesn't understand it. And those people tend to stall out longer in my experience. Just my observation over the years. So yeah, you could absolutely follow just basic training that's not fancy, just does a few basic exercises, and sure, you could get bigger, stronger, and healthier year after year after year. Not a problem with that. It's not necessary. It's when you're trying to push the bleeding edge and you want that 5% better progress than you've been getting, that's when messing with periodized programs really starts to make sense. That's when it really matters. It doesn't matter for general fitness and strength. Like I said, if your goal is to just get to a 500-pound deadlift, you shouldn't need any sort of serious programming to do that. That's something most people can do with just enough time under the bar, following some basic training principles. Nothing more. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.